I'm Kevin Atlas, and I'm bringing some of the most successful, most inspirational human beings on this planet into your classrooms. They beat the odds, they overcame adversity, and through that, they found a way to believe. I've partnered with Varsity Brands to provide the answers, the blueprints. I have this heart that bleeds for the youth of this country, so I fight as a soldier for change, and I want us all to learn to lead, and not just to elevate ourselves, but to elevate each other. I'm looking for students nationwide to take action from what they learned from this series. This is how the world changes. It starts with you. It's essential for schools to act as a functioning community in order to give students the opportunity to flourish. The easiest way to create that sense of community is to celebrate inclusivity. Inclusivity is so important because it promotes the education of all students equally, no matter the race or sex or religion or any other factor. All too often, however, when I'm on tour working to elevate students, I see schools that have isolated students with mental challenges. I believe that those same students are an absolute blessing for campus. Given the opportunity, can change perspectives in a positive way for the whole student body, but don't take it from me. Sarah Cronk made a national movement that celebrates inclusivity in the most uplifting of ways. Her impact was so extensive, it gained national notoriety and even landed her on Oprah.
My older brother Charlie is on the autism spectrum, and we are only a year apart, so we were always in school together from the time that we were in kindergarten on. He's just, like I said, a year older than me. And when we were in high school, he was included academically in the classroom, but we realized that by the time you're a teenager, being included in the classroom doesn't necessarily solve for the social component of school, right? You don't always make friends based on the person who you sit next to in math class. It's who you surround yourself with through your extracurriculars and your activities. And so his journey started with joining our school swim team, actually, and having that community, having that place to go after school, stuff to do on the weekends really transformed his high school experience. And so it was after seeing him experience that act of kindness and inclusion and find that sense of belonging that I really thought, well, you know, if the swim team can do this, then certainly the cheer team can too. I knew just from my short experience in cheerleading that it was highly adaptive as an activity. Obviously, if we can have 5- and 6-year-olds enrolled in club cheerleading, then certainly at the high school level, we can make sure that we're catering to a wide variety of ability levels. And I loved the opportunity it presented to put that bright public spotlight on inclusion. That's one of the unique things about cheer and dance, is that you're not just performing with your team, you're performing in front of an audience. And so that was sort of what got my wheels turning. And then of course from there, it was just about getting the approval from my principals, school administrators, my coach, my athletic director, and they were very skeptical at first. We didn't have any inclusive programming, whether that was sports, choir, theater, anything. And so they essentially told me, you can do this, but we'll give you one game to see if it will work. And so I said, okay, one game? I can work with that. And so we got a team together. The original team had 5 students with disabilities and 5 students without. That all came together. We practiced for a few weeks over the summer leading up to our first home football game. And we walk out arm in arm onto the sidelines with the team. And everyone in the stadium rose to their feet and just started chanting, "Let's go Sparkles, let's go." And the performance went perfectly. And afterward, my principal pulled me aside and said, as long as I'm the principal at Pleasant Valley High School, we will have a Sparkles team. My initial goal when we started the Sparkle Effect was to generate 100 teams nationwide. And when I would tell people that, they would look at me like I was crazy. And I understand why no one thought that was possible, because I was 15 years old. I had no money, no idea how to run a nonprofit, really no clue what I was doing. But I was very audacious and very optimistic. And first thing I did was I sat down and wrote 100 letters to 100 teams asking them to get involved. And that resulted in 0 teams. No one responded to my little letter writing campaign. Next thing I did was I wrote a letter to a company called Varsity Spirit, which was and still is really the driving force behind cheerleading in America today. And so I wrote to their CEO and said, hey, I'm a high school student in Iowa trying to create cheer teams that include students with disabilities, and I really admire what you've done to build Varsity Spirit to what it is today, and if you can help me out, give me some advice, I would really appreciate that. And that was the first letter that I got a response to. We sat down and figured out if there was a way to spread the word about the Sparkle Effect, and by the following summer, there was information about us distributed to every cheer coach in the country. So that was a huge way in which we started to get the word out. Today, the Sparkle Effect has over 225 teams in 31 states that have directly involved over 13,000 students.
How inspiring is it to hear a 15-year-old girl made such an incredible movement? She saw a need in her school community and took action, creating national change.
I had tryouts and one of my students tried out, and although she made a great showing at tryouts, did fabulous and ranked, she didn't make the cut. And I was like, man, that really stings. I was thinking, how can I make this better? And when I found the Sparkle Effect online, it was definitely an aha moment. I was sold from the moment I saw the video. I was so excited to see that the way the program is laid out, it's super easy to start. So I did take that packet to my principal, and he signed off. He said, let's do it. So I went from there. We started our first Sparkle team. And through cheerleading or basketball or any kind of program that can bring time into the picture, and they find more of a commonality with a person, and they see the similarities more than they see the differences once they spend more time. So I think it's just like with anybody else. Any difference between people, the only way you're going to break down that type of barrier is time. You got to spend time. So start a program, especially something like Sparkles, because there's really no risk. It's all benefit.
Sarah, have you gone back and visited some of the schools that have implemented the Sparkle Effect, and what have you seen on campus?
Yes, so visiting schools, visiting our teams is one of my favorite parts of the job, and what I love most is coming back to the same schools year after year and seeing how the relationships between students with and without disabilities has evolved and the bonds that form, and really to see how the experience brings out the best in everyone. So you've got students both with and without disabilities really emerging as leaders and stepping up in a lot of different ways. Every single time we start a new team, after their debut performance, we get a call from that coach, and they'll say, "You will not believe what happened." And we sort of are like, "Oh, okay, tell us what happened." And they say, "We went out there, we performed, and everybody loved it. We got a standing ovation. The parents were crying. There was just this surge of community spirit and pride, and we just can't wait to get out there and perform again. But we just wanted to let you know because our school is so amazing and so special that they had this great reaction." And I always sort of chuckle, and I want to say, I do believe it. I do believe that happened because we get this call almost every time. But I love that magic moment that all of these schools get to have, and that feeling like they have the best high school in America. I want every team, every school to have that experience through this journey.
It's so funny to hear about how your principal had a bit of hesitancy deploying this when it originated with you. And now that principals have seen it happen, seen it work, and that do deploy it with either their coaches or their teams or their clubs, the reaction that you get every single time it works is so worth doing. So that's a huge encouragement for a lot of the faculty and staff out there to take that leap of faith with inclusion.
Yeah, I love it, and I just love how proud it makes everyone feel of where they came from their school, their community, and just the way it represents what our schools value and care about.
After hearing the impact the Sparkle Effect has made, do you think your school would benefit from exercising this form of inclusivity? I challenge you to seek out opportunities to make your school feel like a community. I challenge you to reach out in unique ways to get everyone involved, because every school deserves its sparkle.
Since meeting with Sarah, the Sparkle Effect has made the name change to Generation Spirit, a title truly representative of the power and passion behind the movement for inclusion.